Welcome once again. Welcome once again, dear viewers. This is Humanist TV Africa. This is Humanist TV Africa. You are most welcome. You are most welcome. This evening, we are hosting our comrade brother, Hyp Egbune, who is based in the UK, but of course, a Nigerian also, and a humanist who is working towards having matters, human rights moving on forward very well. Another brother of ours is our Nigerian comrade, brother Nandipu, Andrew Bongfa. You are welcome both, Mr. Hyp and Mr. Nandip. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Hyp, I can't hear your voice.
So, okay, can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Thank you.
Perfect.
I can hear you.
So, good evening, everyone.
Mr.
Nandip, how are you doing?
I'm fine, sir. How are you doing, my big brother?
I do. Anything for the boys?
The shark one beer, hero, yeah.
I hope you are not drinking Brukutu tonight.
No, it's hero.
Ah, hero. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Enjoy yourself.
That's a big one. That's a big one. I have mine. I have mine too. Don't worry.
Okay, I only have an empty cup. Thank you so much.
So I have local beer from Africa right here. So
do
don't
you?
worry. Yeah, I make it right here. Local beer from Africa right here.
You don't mean it.
Is it palm wine?
Yeah, I just boil
wish.
water and I put something on water and that's it. I'm magical.
That's not a beer.
Otherwise, welcome all of you. Welcome all of you. Welcome to Humanist TV Africa. We start on a lighter note. This is Kato Mukasa, of course, with Mr. Hyp there and my brother Bongfa. Andrew, all of these guys are, of course, Africans. We are human beings in the first place. We are humanists. We are human rights defenders. And we love Africa and we love our world and want to make a difference. Now, today we are going to be discussing the asylum situation in the UK. Of course, we are looking at Rwanda perspective, how the UK government is thinking about Rwanda as a destination for asylum seekers in the UK. And of course, our brother Hyp is going to be taking us through this kind of discussion. The topic is the UK-Uganda asylum policy, a humanist perspective. Now, we are going to be hearing from Mr. Hyp, who is going to be taking us through his own perspective on this matter. Then, of course, we shall be sharing views. Nandip will be sharing views. I'll be sharing views. This is the subject we're going to be discussing today. I want to encourage you, our viewers, to please subscribe. If you're watching us for the first time, please subscribe. This is Humanist TV Africa. We are across Africa. We have studios in Ghana. We have studios in Nigeria. We have a studio in Uganda, in Kenya, in Zambia, in Zimbabwe. We have a studio there, including a studio in Kenya. We intend to open up more studios. We are a live TV talk show, having talk shows every day. Today we have got 3 talk shows. We have been having them. You have seen them. We have been able to share with you. We simply encourage you to continue subscribing, to continue sharing the good news, the good information we share, so that people can be able to watch us and see more from us. Now, having said that, I want to welcome Mr. Hyp to start off this discussion for today. The topic is the UK asylum seeking policy, looking at Rwanda, how UK-Rwanda asylum policy is going to turn out to be. Mr. Hyp, how is what forms the genesis of this kind of thing? Why Rwanda this time? Why the UK thinking about Rwanda of all nations, of all countries? Why Rwanda?
Okay, thank you everyone for having me and joining me for us to have this conversation. For me, I'm an atheist and I'm a humanist. So my worldview is usually informed by those values. And that is what had made the topic for tonight what it is. My bias is towards humanism. That's what it is. I can't change it. So it may well be that people say, oh, you saying those things because of your values. Of course, values inform decision-making, everything we do. That's what happens. Before I ask you that question, let me just play a game. I'm going to answer that question. So that which country in the world do you think has the largest number of refugees in the world?
There are quite a number of countries, but I will start with.
Okay, give me the first two. The first two.
The first two, in my view, I will say, surprisingly, my country has over 2 million people who are refugees.
Okay.
Uganda. You'll be surprised if you Google it. Uganda,
Okay.
my country, has so many refugees. Of course, these days we are hearing about Syria having so many refugees. We're hearing about Turkey having so many refugees. Turkey, as they call it, I call it Turkey, like the Arabs, has so many refugees. And of course, recently, I'm also hearing many countries in Latin America, Brazil, Bolivia, Chile, have so many refugees. So maybe I'm not answering your question directly, but I'm giving you countries that I think have so many refugees. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So in terms of countries, major countries that are hosting refugees, so people have left their countries of origin to seek asylum. The country that has the largest number is Turkey, with about 3.7 million refugees and counting. Followed in the West by Germany. And Germany has about 2.2 million refugees. And this data is from United Nations Refugee Agency. Why have I asked this question? Because this UK-Rwandan policy has been built on false narrative that UK has been swamped and they've had their largest number of refugees. They are taking everybody. So I just wanted to dispel that fallacy first. Now we go into the historicity, which you've asked. You cannot do this without looking at United Nations Convention on the rights of refugees, regulating status of refugees. You cannot, I think it's 1950 or 1951, just after the Second World War. And the purpose is to provide protection for people who are fleeing their country based on some convention rights grounds. So it might be based on political belief, it might be based on religion, on ethnicity, and of recent sexual orientation and others. It can be more political persecution. There's a lot in it. And it is not, you cannot discuss United Nations Convention relating to refugees without discussing United Nations Conventions on human rights, or United Nations Convention on political and civil rights, or European Union Convention of Human Rights, or in the United Kingdom here, the Human Rights Act 1998. You cannot do that. You cannot also discuss them in the absolute without looking at Equality Act in this country, which says that everybody were equal. So the basis of this was and could be linked to what do you call it, Brexit. As most people will know, the basis of Brexit was that the United Kingdom wanted to come out from Europe. And the feeling was that the services were being swamped, and if they don't come out, they are going to overwhelm the country and the resources and everything. There was a lot of all sorts of narratives, some false, some true. So we came out from Europe. But having come out from Europe, have I lost you? Having come out from Europe, that thing they wanted to kill by coming out from Europe remained. In fact, it escalated more. Rather than having maybe 100 people crossing through the boats every day, we now have over 400 or 500 through the boats crossing over. Overwhelming services, and that is true. Services are overwhelmed. And it's not just about services. It's also about identity issue. There are places before where you will go in the United Kingdom, you hardly see a person of color or person from another part of the world. I live in one of the remotest places in England. I live in the east of England by the coast. And there used to be a point when you come there, people were looking at you as if you are a ghost. But all of a sudden, they felt, who are these people? They are coming in. They're taking our they're not talking about jobs. No, job, because the jobs are there. We're not really, they're taking our services. That's what it is. The NHS was suffering. Social care was suffering. The criminal justice system was suffering. So they needed to find, and remember that the Conservative Party moved to the right in order for us to come out from Europe. They took the place of UK Independence Party, the far right party. That's what they did. People like Farage, who were, they need to push them out from the far right. You know very well that in politics, you need to be at the center ground for you to be relevant. So they pushed them out and took their place. And having taken their place, well, they are the people who are saying, let's come out from Europe. We're swarmed by refugees. An issue of identity. Do you get me? And sometimes I understand the fear. There are places you go in this country where you find out that you will find, even though the white people are in majority, you find that there has been a dilution, so to say, where you find councillors from other ethnic groups. Especially if you go to the Midlands, people who live in the Midlands, you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to mention the ethnic groups. So there was this fear that they were losing their identity. And what they needed to do was to say, okay, we need to stop this dilution. We need to do whatever we can to stop it. Brexit has not stopped it. What else can we do? So they started looking for what they think might be something to stop people coming here to seek asylum. And that is the basis of it. And will they succeed? Have they succeeded? No. This started with the regime of Boris Johnson. You recall him. Boris Johnson thought he told them whatever they wanted to hear. And was looking for a country anywhere in the world where these people who come through the boats will not longer have their asylum application determined here. They will be removed immediately since they've entered illegally to Rwanda, where the asylum claim will be processed. And if successful, they will now return to UK. That's the basis. So it's been passed from hand to hand. You recall that Liz Truss took over from Boris. Boris from Liz Truss is gone to the plate of entry of Rishi Sunak. So they are playing what is like a bingo. So on the basis that if you look at the how it started, It is to meet the yearning of the far right, the far right who feel that their country has been overwhelmed. And the fear might be legitimate. Let's be fair. We're humanists, so we have to be fair to everybody when we're looking at this. And we look at reason, we look at logic, we look at science. Just imagine Rwanda, Uganda. You know what happened to Uganda during the time of Idi Amin. It might be a different narrative, but there is a link to such negative narratives where there's this fear we're being taken over. Do you get me? And we need to protect who we are. So that's how some of them see it.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Hyp. I think you are discussing a very, very pertinent issue. It's a very, very pertinent issue. Remember, the days I used to come to the UK and, of course, go back. Of course, I remember also the time of British exit, where almost all my colleagues were against it. I remember very well. They thought that it was not right for the UK to wanting to live out Europe, so that you can be on your own. Like, let them go. We have to be on our own. In this world, it's very hard to say let them go.
No,
because at the end of the day, you need them. But now, if someone starts by chasing fellow Europeans, then what do you expect? If someone starts by saying, I don't want to be in this kind of family, I think I can go it alone.
Yes.
Now, it's being threatened by even fellow Caucasians like them, and it says, no, the Germans should go away, the French should be, I mean, you want to be alone. You think you can do it alone. Now, if you have that kind of attitude, as I've said, from that government of bodies and all that, it means that even the rest who are not even Europeans are going to be more subject to discrimination of the highest degree. And look, I've been following this kind of situation, and I've been always wondering, if people are coming on the boats, yes, the numbers have increased. Honestly, the numbers have increased on the boats. And all of us know where they come from, at least where they come from to cross to the UK. And there are suggestions. At least we know that they come through France. We know that they come through France on boats. And there is someone asks a question. They first stay in this country, or somehow enter this country X, then cross over to this country Y. Why don't you stop them from the other point? And there were suggestions at the end of the day that they could, in fact, put measures to stop them from the other point of entry, because the law allows them to enter once they dock on your land. That's international law. There's no you can chase them away.
UN Convention on the Rights of Refugees.
Yes. Once they dock on your land, you have to welcome them. That's the law. Now, all that they are doing is circumventing the law, is running across the law. The law, which stands as an international law. Now, what do they want to do? They look for another third option. Rwanda becomes the point here. But now look at Rwanda and look at the situation in Rwanda, where you want to chase people, where you want to dump people. Of course, my brothers, it's a way of dehumanizing people. It's a way of humiliating people. It's a way of intimidating everyone else who would like to get an opportunity to land here. I think it's something which is not done in good faith, my brothers, and something which I can say is wrong. And only assuming that if someone wants to come in your house for safety, for whatever reasons, and then you say, no, you won't come in my house. Now that you have come to my house, I'm going to take you to my neighbor's house.
Yes.
But again, I make sure that my neighbor's house is not conducive at all to my standard. Actually, my neighbor's house is going to give you a latrine where you're going to stay.
Yes.
Because you are getting this person from where you thought is going to have some bit of relief as you sort him out, and you are taking him to a place where you won't even have the amenities. Now, to me, this is more of a human rights violation. I've been seeing NGOs protesting against this, and I think this is the point to do so. that someone who enters here, I do believe that give them a chance, let them be heard on merit. If they don't deserve to be there, let them go. But hear them. Give them a chance to be heard. Then simply say, put them on the next plane, take them to Rwanda. Where do you take them? Me, as a person from East Africa, I know what Rwanda is. It's not a country that honestly everyone would like to stay in. Now, to make matters worse, I have refugees who are already in Rwanda. Because as a Ugandan lawyer, I was helping matters refugees. As I speak now, I have 2 refugees I know who are in Rwanda. From Uganda crossing to Rwanda. But when they tell you what they go through in those camps, my brothers, it is terrible. Now, to me, any idea of thinking that we're going to get someone from Britain and you deport them, you take them to Rwanda is a humiliation. To me, it's an insult to humanity. This person has come here for a reason. My brother Nandip, my brother Hyp, none of us would like to run away from our countries if there was anything called peace, if everything was okay. Remember, the Nigerians have a saying, I think it was Chinua Achebe who wrote it in one of his books, that when you see a frog running in the broad daylight, know that something is after its life. Yes, that was Chinua Achebe, or the student of Chinua, that when you see a frog, they have a saying in their local language. When you see a frog running in the middle of the road in broad daylight, it must be in water. But when you see it in the middle of the road, there must be something after its life, either a snake or something terrible. So, to me, this issue has been put into racial. It's become a racial. It has become a matter of prejudice, hate, you know. And as you said rightly, people are thinking some people are taking over. Some people are taking over. But honestly, I've just given an example. My own country, anyone can Google it. Uganda has over 2 million refugees. Uganda, my own country. And when I was in Uganda, I was a lawyer for refugees. I handled over 10 cases successfully. So what I'm talking about, I know that we have so many refugees in Uganda. Now, if a poor country like Uganda can have over 2 million refugees, a poor country in terms of cash, they don't have enough money, but they can be able to stomach and host people. Why don't a fairly good country host people, hear them, determine it on merit, and see what next? Because instead of deporting, so for me, honestly, I'm with you on this. I'm against this inhuman way of treating refugees in this country. To me, I think it's not fair. I think they need a change of heart. But I'm happy, as I conclude, that there are many people I've had in Britain that have been against this kind of policy. To me, I think it's unfair, it's inhuman, and it's a racist kind of thing. You know, I want to say, let us dump you here, and that's so. Nandip, that's what I was thinking. What do you think, Nandip, having heard about our kind of arguments?
Yes, thank you, Kato, and thank you, Mr. Hyp, for this topic, Rwanda asylum policy in the UK, right?
Yes.
Yes. What I want to understand is, you know, I believe Rwanda doesn't have the population of Nigeria. We have over 2 million people in Nigeria. That is as 2016 census. So now we are more than people. So I believe Rwanda is not up to half of the population of Nigeria.
No, it's not. I'm not even sure it's up to Lagos. Let me see a population.
Thank you. Now there's this word that we usually use in Nigeria called Japa.
Yes.
Of which our medical practitioners, they are leaving the country in droves to the European countries, and our bankers, that is those who work in the financial institution, they are leaving the country, and then those who our technocrats, they are just leaving Nigeria and they are going to Europe. I've never heard of deportation of Nigerians except when your visa expire or when you come into the European country illegally. Then you can be able to deport to Nigeria. I cannot be able to understand why Rwanda, which have a least population, and the UK government decided to kind of refuse to grant them asylum in the UK. That means there is something more than that. There's something more than what is going on.
What it thinks is
between
that
the UK and the Rwanda. Yes,
Nandip, what is it is that
yes.
they want to use it as a deterrent in their mind to dissuade people arriving at the shores of UK on the boat. That is what they think. And it's not everyone. What they are saying is that anybody who arrives on the boat will not be allowed to make a claim to political asylum, to any form of asylum. That he will be removed to Rwanda, where he can make his claim. And if his claim is found to be founded, then he'll be allowed. And we know that will not happen. That will not happen. Let me, because I I think we've missed our direction tonight, because I was looking at the the humanist stance in relation to this, which I want us to link or for us to emphasize. You will recall very well, that's who we are. One of our principles, one of the values we hold on is the dignity of human worth, isn't it? The human rights. It's about compassion. It's about service. It's about charity. It's about that neighborhood principle. Those are the things that inform us who we are as individuals and as a community. So if you put that, and it's ethical, isn't it? And so we need to also understand whether that decision to have somebody write on international law derobed from him and ask him to go and exercise it abroad, whether that is ethical. And we do not need anybody to tell you that it is not just unlawful, it is immoral and it's unethical. You cannot, I do not see how somebody like me who has my stance based on these value issues of human rights, democratic governance, accountability, transparent, will subscribe to such a view. So, and I tell you this, will there be a flight to Rwanda? I am telling you, there will not be none. Because it don't seem now that the Supreme Court in this country, in its judgment last week, was very equivocal. Rwanda is not safe. It's clear. There's no way you can paint it. So there has been a judicial finding to say that Rwanda is not a safe place, but that is not even the issue. For you to determine that Rwanda is it lawful for you to remove somebody who has a right under United Nations Convention on the status relating to refugees removed. Remember one thing: the United Kingdom were those at the front of most of the international human rights legislations that we have. After the Second World War, they led it, and it is the foundation of this state. It's the foundation of human relationships and the foundation of connections between states and countries and other things. Now, this same nation who did this is now saying, no, let us tear up the international treaties. That's what they are saying. Tear it up. I'm sure you had one member of the Conservative Party saying the other day that if left for him, he will break the law to deport them. That's what he says. And it's so alarming that we could, because this country, no matter what you feel about it, had always taken that ethical stance, that moral stance on issue. So they are abandoning it. They want to abandon it. They are being forced to abandon it, but they won't succeed. Do you get me? I think I had a conversation with Kato the other day. There are things which people are doing to make sure they don't succeed, but they also know they won't succeed, because even if they change the law, because what the Sunak is saying, the Prime Minister is saying, is that he is going to change the law. Hear him. He's going to make a law to say that Rwanda is safe. Who does that? So he's going to make a law by him, and he said he will take on the House of Law, take on everybody to make a law to say that Rwanda is safe. It's not based on his own assessment. But that is who we are. As ethics, as humanists, we have a duty to speak up when things are not going well, when people are suffering, when people are being injustice is being meted out, especially to the vulnerable members of the society. We have a duty to speak out. We cannot keep quiet. Whether the victim is a humanist or not, it's totally irrelevant. Our first duty is our calling. I also call it that our role is like a call. It's like when a pastor says, I have a calling. We have a calling, and we cannot abdicate that. The UK government, they know they won't. I think they are just trying to play out until the election comes and goes. Because I do not see flights going to. And why Rwanda? No, also, why do people choose to UK rather than staying in France and all that? I will tell you why. There is a historical imperative about it. You will note that when people go to where they have connections, where they have connectedness, or where they have historical or language ties, that's where they go. United Kingdom was a country that went all over the world, colonizing people, teaching them their language, changing our way of life, teaching us what to dress. You change everything. So you wouldn't expect somebody who comes from maybe the French colony to be seeking asylum in UK. He wouldn't do that because it's going to be difficult for him to fit in. You wouldn't. But you expect countries where English is their first language. And because English is their first, they will have friends, brothers, other things within this country to come. And that's the attraction. So when they get to France, or they can't remain in France, they will not survive. So it's just like what happens in Nigeria. You mentioned about Nigeria. In Nigeria, we do not even have statistics. I'm sure there are over 10 million refugees in Nigeria. Thinking about it. Because we have an open border where the heartbeat of not just West Africa, but Africa. And all around us, all around Nigeria, are wars and conflicts. In Chad, in Niger, in Burkina Faso, in Mali, everywhere is war. And where do they find solace? Nigeria. So I kind of agree that their fears has to be assuaged. But trying to tear up the international law, trying to even the domestic law, the Human Rights Act, we have a Human Rights in 1998 here, which talks about the right to the dignity of human words, who talks about the right to life, who talks about right to fair hearing, but you want to tear it out to enable you bring in this policy. I think it's something every one of us should speak up against. Good evening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hyp. And of course, welcome, Junior Council, of course, Obasi Ichukuchu. You have a very serious name, my friend. Obasi, when I speak your name, sometimes I want to...
Okay. Obasi, how are you?
I'm fine. Good evening from here. Thank you for having me.
We used to be friends on Facebook until an event in which I had to block you. What was that?
Really? I'm not really aware of that.
I think you're my block, Obasi Ikechukwu or something like that. You're my block.
Yes.
Okay, you have to ask me nicely to unblock you. You're a fine man.
I think that's a joke.
No, I'm not even aware of that. I'm not even aware such happens.
I think that's a joke. Now that was a joke. Now Obasi, that was a joke, of course. Obasi, welcome on the set. Obasi is a Nigerian lawyer, and surprisingly, interestingly, tonight we have 3 Nigerians on set. Now we are going to be speaking mother tongue now very soon. But I'm on safe that Nigeria has about 100 languages. So
no, you are right. You are wrong. We have over 500 languages.
Exactly.
Now you can imagine. That's why I know they can't speak correctly the same language. So English comes at play.
Myself and
Exactly.
Obasi, our dialect is very close. We're both Igbo, well, I guess, but different dialects.
Yes.
Yes.
You see, talking about colonialism, I want to discuss your point, then I'm going to invite Obasi to speak something also. And I was jokingly saying that, but it made the point that when Britain took over the world, Britain ruled many countries in the world. We call it colonization. And when they came to us, they gave us everything they had about themselves. And they made us forget almost everything about ourselves. Now, the language we speak today on set is their language.
Yes.
But I can tell you, we love their language more than we love our languages.
Absolutely.
Because even in school, they were beating us to learn their language. For us in Africa, in the 80s, you people are lucky. Obasi may be lucky, but I know Nandip was beaten. I know Hyp was beaten. I was beaten in school.
I was beaten as well. They call it vernacular.
They call it vernacular, yes.
Vernacular, yes.
You can imagine. Now, I want people in the UK watching us to listen carefully. That you people brought your education system to our countries. Your teachers, you train your teachers to beat us to learn your language.
Yes.
At the same time, everything we were taught was tailored on your own standards. I went to law school for 4 years. I went to another law school for 2 years. Another law school for 1 year. Everything I studied in 7 years of law school were about laws written in Britain.
Yes.
One of the professors of law, who is an Englishman, if I'm not forgetting, is called Professor Daise.
Yes.
You remember the principle? The principle he gave us?
Yes.
Where he's talking about a power and separation of power and institutions. Now, I bring it back to the Parliament of the UK. Why do you forget what your own man wrote in the books of law? Professor Daise, they taught us Professor Daise in the School of Law. How is setting up principles, how we must be able to respect governance and politics and functions of institutions. Now, if you see an institution so respected, most of us respect the UK because it's what you know. As Mr. Hyp has said, it's what we studied in the schools. It's the language we speak. It's the laws we went to school to practice and study, of course. Now, if you are going to break your own laws, because they are saying we are going to amend. Now, if you are going to break your own laws, what else won't you break? You see, if you are going to break your own laws in your home, it means you are going to break the laws of your neighbor and the laws of another neighbor and also of another. Because the moment you don't respect your own laws, then there's a problem. Lastly, look at Rwanda. I've been to Rwanda. Rwanda is my neighbor. I've been to Rwanda so many times. I'm telling you, there's no democracy in Rwanda. I'm telling you this as a neighbor to Rwanda. In Rwanda, you cannot criticize Kagame. In Rwanda, Rwanda is my neighbor. I've gone to Rwanda over 4 times. You cannot criticize Kagame in Rwanda. They will arrest you. Rwandese have been tamed to keep quiet. They say it's a peaceful country. No, it's a country under intimidation.
Can I just come in here, Mike? Can I come in here just a minute? My cousin just came back. She's in the medical field and came back from Rwanda about a month ago. And that changed my perspective because I used to think that Rwanda was that pearl of Africa, that light of Africa. She came back, she said to me that going to Rwanda has shown that the underbelly of Rwanda is dark. It's an underbelly of Rwanda. And that people are not seeing it because that's the way it's the narrative, that what is going on in Rwanda cannot even be explained. Yes.
Now, I should tell you this, as humanists, when I was chair for Africa, I went to Rwanda, I think about 3 times. As I speak now, the chairperson of Humanist Association of Rwanda has been missing for the last 2 years. As I speak now, he's called Daniel Twesje. If anyone knows where he is, They should come and inform us. They all know my contact. Daniel Tresigye has been missing for the last 2 years.
Can you put his
Why?
name on the chat again? Can you put the name on the chat? I didn't quite catch the name.
Maybe Dennis is going to help us. It's called Daniel Tresigye. Has been missing, at least from me, for the last 2 years. And he wrote to me the day he went missing. And I informed Humanist International and other bodies. They are aware because I informed them. As a leader in Africa, the young man was being chased by his own government for speaking out. I'm speaking this on TV. Daniel Tresigye has been missing, at least from me. I don't know where he is for the last 2 years. Not slightly more. And I made reports that the guy has gone into hiding. They are looking for him. They want to kill him. Now, me as a neighbor of Rwanda, me who has a connection to Rwanda, personally, me who has gone to Rwanda, I feel the pain when someone tells me that Rwanda is a peaceful country. It's not.
Yes.
It's not. They are telling lies. Those are politics. Rwanda is being served by the marketing which their president is putting in people like Bill Clinton. Rwanda is a highly marketed country. Drogba has gone there. All these sports stars have gone there. They sponsor Arsenal. They sponsor everyone. Why? They want a good image. But Rwanda has dictators. As I speak now, many army generals that are critical of Kagame are either in exile or dead. Kagame has sponsored the killing of its generals in South Africa. He has sponsored the killing of his generals outside Rwanda. I speak this on air because I know Rwanda, because I've gone to Rwanda, because Rwanda is my neighbor, because Rwanda is part of me. Now, when I see the British government talking about Rwanda as an alternative for asylum seekers, I cry inside, I bleed, because I see what type of hypocrisy is this government practicing. Do they know the type of country they are sending people? When my own chairperson for Rwanda has been missing for criticizing a regime on human rights grounds, I don't know whether he's alive or he's dead, and you are telling me you are sending people there? People have been critical from their countries. You want to send them to a deadly country which pretends to be a democratic? No way. So to me, it's a shame. I speak this. I know it's going to hurt people. It may even bounce back to me, but I'm telling you, it's a shame for government to think of dehumanizing people in that way. I want to take it back to Obasi. We are discussing the UK asylum policy where they want to take people back to Rwanda as a solution to decongest the UK. What's your take on this?
Well, I will start by good evening, everyone. Let me officially greet my senior comrades because I'm the youngest in the house. But the young shall grow.
Yeah.
Okay. Our people say that the prostrate posture of lizard has made humans unable to know the one that suffers from belly ache. Rwanda, just like every other country, has democracy on paper, but in practice, there is no democracy. I used to read about Rwanda and had this view, this wrong notion that Rwanda is the hope of Africa, given the genocide, the experience, and eventually got this, shabby independence, shabby freedom. I felt that Rwanda is going to be a template for good governance in Africa. But to my greatest dismay, the report I started getting, especially this report of Daniel that you presented, got me so upset. Misgovernance and maladministration in various African countries is one of the causes of this asylum seeking, one of the causes of what we call Japa syndrome in Nigeria. We call it Japa syndrome Because when a system is not properly working, and some persons, some concerned citizens speak up, you know, some of these political bourgeoisies who want to eliminate true speakers. Just as something I was presenting today, let me digress a bit. There is this young man, will I call him a modern uh, uh, traditional religion activist in Nigeria called Ezako. He once called out a certain cleric called Ebuka Obi. Ebuka Obi, who comes on social media to stage fake miracles. In order to prove that some of these people are just selling false hope to the people, he called them out and brought a real sick person for them to heal, and they couldn't do anything. What did they do? They called police to arrest the young man. As we speak now, though rumor has it that he has been released, but as we speak now, officially, he's still being detained in Abuja. He's still being detained in Abuja. So that is what we go through in Africa, not just Rwanda. When you come up to speak the truth, that's as some of us in Nigeria are speaking of, who knows, we somehow fear for our lives. When you come out to speak up against some of this injustice, they tend to pursue you. They tend to drag you around using the institution. Because I learned a lot from your last show. As you said, yes, this is the news. This is the news. One of the news headlines I spoke on today. There is this unruly amalgamation, unruly teamwork between religion and politics and injustice. It's unruly. It's unruly. Unruly amalgamation.
I call it the toxic three. That's what
exactly.
I call it.
Exactly. So this makes some persons that have decided to speak up a prey to victimization, to persecution. This often lead to Japa syndrome. Japa syndrome. And when you don't speak up, you see how some of these things interrelate, interconnect. When you don't speak up, the misgovernance will keep on going with impunity, with nobody coming to correct some of these excesses. And the masses will keep mute. They will keep mute. The next thing you will start getting is people, this brain drain happening in the country. Like, as he mentioned, I was listening, I was watching, as Nandi mentioned, there are a lot of brain drain in Nigeria, human capital flight, because people are not speaking up because they may be targeted for speaking up. And it has made some persons to seek better opportunity overseas. Take it to Rwanda. A lot of injustice going on in Rwanda that a humanist came up to speak, spoke up against it, just like Mubarak Bala, our brother, spoke up against the indoctrination of children that has increased the Boko Haram. Because it is the indoctrination of children, toxic indoctrination of children, that makes them, when they grow up, they just, you can send them to suicide bombing. And they will accept it because from childhood, they have been indoctrinated. So for speaking up against indoctrination, he's facing persecution, just like the way Daniel is currently facing persecution. He's under hide and seek for just speaking up against injustice. And the UK government that claims to know what the law says, that claims to give us the actual law, that claims to give us even law, is is coming up with a harsh asylum policies. It's quite pathetic. But what this have made me to understand is that some of these Western countries are not just there for justice. They are not just there for rule of law. They are not just there for promotion of fundamental human rights. If not, I keep asking this question: why is it that there is this rule of equity under the international laws, rule of equality under the international laws, that that have African Charter provides for equality of all persons because we are all born equal. But some of the policies, some of the ways, some of the structures of United Nations does not reflect that equality that the charter that they gave us provided for. For instance, as we speak now, we all know that no African countries is a permanent member in the Security Council. So this has made me to understand that it is not just Africa that is involved in this game of paper democracy, paper lawfulness. It is everywhere in the world because there is this tendency in man that is not governed by humanistic tenets. There is this tendency to be greedy. UK is greedy in some of their approaches. That is why when our sister Linda Tilly was alive, she defined what we see as colonialism. She defined this as terrorism. She showed me, yes, this thing you now define as terrorism under your laws is what you meted out to Africans. So sometimes when people use UK, US as a prototype for democracy, for fairness, for equity, I laugh. It is just, will I call it a media paparazzi that some of these people are fond of. And it's also that media paparazzi that will make some persons think that Rwanda is actually a great country. So that is what I have to say for now. All right, thank you for having me once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Comrade Lobasi, for that insight. We have only 9 minutes to go. We are going to share them three each of us. I'll start with Mr. Nandipu Bongfa. Please, in the 3 minutes you have, may you please give us your take. And Nandip, your camera is cutting off your head. You are headless. Please, may you adjust your tripod. Nandip, I can't see your face. Please, may you adjust your tripod so that it lowers you. I want to see your face. Can you hear me? Nandip, please adjust your tripod. I want to see you. Yes. Nandip, can you hear me? Nandip?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
I can't see your face. Yes.
Better.
Yes, better. Because people want to see this brown man who has a wrapper on his forehead. Now, having said that,
yes.
This Tarok man, this man from Tarok,
yes.
this African man from Tarok. Now, you Tarok man, may you please give us a conclusion in 3 minutes? Nandip, your conclusion.
Yes, thank you, Kato, for this wonderful topic, Rwanda Asylum Policy in the UK. That is UK-Rwanda Asylum Policy in the UK. And then the talk that you give, and Mr. Hyp, the way he analyzed this topic, I really appreciate it and oversee, because myself, I didn't know much about Rwanda. I'm just getting more information from you guys here. And then what I've been reading about Rwanda on Facebook is about their beautiful girls, women, very, very attractive. I've been kind of thinking whether if I have the opportunity to go to South Africa or East Africa, whatever location they are, I can be able to grab one and marry. But the way I heard from you yourself, from Rekatu and Obasi, I know that place is not a no-go area. When I go there, that means I will not come back to Nigeria to Matarok people. So I really appreciate this talk. Humanist TV like this, you get more information. Things that you don't know, you will know it here. Things that you don't even imagine that happens, you get to know it in this platform. Yes, I really appreciate it, that in the sense that we should bring out more topic and more discussion on things that most of us didn't even know. I thank you, my comrade Katu. I thank Mr. Hyp. and I thank Obasi. You really talk more about this Rwanda of a thing. It seems like you know much about that. Have you been to Rwanda before, Obasi? I don't know.
You know, we travel
Obasi?
through reading. We travel through
Yes.
reading.
Exactly.
Oh,
These days, you don't need to go. You just go through the internet.
ah. Yes. So honestly, this topic is very good. It's very good. It's an
Thank
eye
you. Thank you
opener.
so much.
It's very educative and very enlightening. Yes. Thank you. I don't have
Thank you
much
so
to
much,
say about.
sir. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
I don't have
You have
yes. I don't have much to say about Rwanda, but I've learned a lot this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. I will also Humanist TV here. We learn. We keep on learning from each other. Mr. Hype, your concluding
Yes.
remark on this for now.
I just feel this is a hugely important topic because it impacts every one of us one way or the other. We are one community, we are one world. Like you mentioned, the idea that you can live alone in this world is pure madness, isn't it? When the UK government thinks they can come out from Europe, live alone, and have nothing to do, it was totally ill thought. It was not well thought through, and you can see what is happening. They are going as far as Australia for looking for trading partners. They are going to Rwanda. They are going everywhere. Meanwhile, you have the largest market in the world, 350 million member market in Europe by your door. But you are going to Canada to go and look for trading deals and other things. It just shows how ill thought through that policy was. But bringing it back to this topic, no, I also want to say this. I had to check the population of Rwanda, because that's where we started. I can confirm Rwanda is about 14 million people, which means that Lagos, so not Lagos is a big, Lagos state, it's a big, larger than Rwanda in terms of population. The hypocrisy of the West continues to unravel, especially at every step, every decision they make. Every value, every principle, their war stance that had underpinned, we look towards them as Bible, so to say. They're all coming down. We're now seeing through. If they could go to Rwanda looking for where to take refugees, it's something that bothers me, that and deeply worrying. And you are ready to tear up the international treaty, your national laws, in order to achieve that. That is very disturbing, and I do not think this is. I ever expected this kind of outcome from my own government here. I thought I knew them, but clearly I didn't. We're going to have this conversation because we must have a voice. I continue to say this, and I think I've said this to many of the platforms, many times when I come here, and I say this to Hyp Egbune. Religion and politics has failed Nigeria and failed Africa. We must understand that, and we might have a role in framing a perspective in terms of governance for Nigeria and for Africa. So it's something you younger ones like you might need to do, because I believe that the humanistic view does offer an alternative thinking in terms of governance, growth, and development in Africa. But nobody will take us serious if we remain just on the social media. People need to hear us. Yeah, the risk is high, like you identified. You mentioned Mubarak, and there are a lot of people whom we do not even think or know about. But most of us at my age, I think I've done my best. At my best, younger people like you will not need to run with it, because the world, especially Africa, especially Nigeria, they are waiting for people like you to come up and offer. People don't want to go to church. People are tired of religion. I'm going to say that. I'm sure you must have noticed it. They don't want to do that. But they are not going to stop, because nature abhors a vacuum. You need to offer them something else, something that will occupy them on Sunday morning, something that will help in their mental health and their self-image, because when they get involved in religious activities, it helps them in who they are, their identity, everything. So Humanism does offer that perspective, but we cannot achieve that. Lastly, I want to say, please, we need to start sharing whenever we have these discussions. We need to start sharing it. People need to hear about this real time. Let us don't just get it and keep it out. For me, whenever I get it, I share it, because I know there are people out there who are waiting to hear what we've been speaking about. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Hyp. Thank you so much, Mr. Nandip. Basi, just one word, because actually we are out of time.
All right. I will say that the hope of the world, the hope of a better place for me and you in the words of Michael Jackson, is humanism. It's only humanistic values that can salvage us from this scourge of faith-based persecution, this scourge of political manipulation. It is only humanistic values. So we keep trying our best. Let me borrow a leaf from my senior mentor, Hyp. I feel that Humanist TV is here to help us spread our tentacles. But in order to achieve more, we widen our scope, delve into politics, delve into education, so that we can give a better alternative. Humanism is not just in words, it's also both in words and in action. It's a conglomeration of many things good. So I will end it on that. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Comrade Kato. Thank you, Comrade Nandi. Thank you, Comrade Hyp.
Don't worry. When I grow up, I'll be like you. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. And as all of you have said rightly so, that humanism is all about compassion. Humanism is all about equity. It's all about fairness. This is what we ask the government of UK to do: fairness, equity, compassion, love, care, tolerance, and understanding. That is what we ask as a Humanist TV right now. I want to thank you so much, and I want to sign out. And we are saying we are going to come back with a team very, very soon. See you in the next one.
Bye.
Good evening, everyone. Take care.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Yes.